This is the Last Call Fantasy Football Podcast.
In this corner.
Go ahead, continue. Who's in this corner?
That's all I got. In this corner, weighing in at 250
Hey, yo, chill out.
pounds. Huh?
I'm 186, thank you. Anyways, I enjoyed that. This is the Last Call Fantasy Football Podcast. And I realize I do this as every show starts. I go and I scoot forward, and I like go back, and then I go forward. So this is
Why do you do that?
I don't know, just like getting into it. I don't know, scooting forward. I'm ready. I'm ready to talk some fantasy football, man. We're doing our. I don't know. I don't think we'll do another one of these before. Oh, I'm lost.
Oh no.
You lost me. Where'd you go? You can still hear me.
Where'd you go?
Country
I miss you
road.
so.
Come back. Oh, I'm here. Anyways, I hope this doesn't continue, but we're going to talk some fantasy football sleepers on today's episode. Them honk shoe ass motherfuckers. We did a little bit more deep dive, at least I did, than we typically do. So normally we operate off of experience,
I got
vibes,
some stats for you.
some relevant experiences, some ideologies that have been successful for us in the past. But today I looked, I don't know, at a couple different things that don't normally do. But we didn't want to be some cop-out boys today, so we got some sleepers coming from the soul. I mean, I don't know about Justin. We got 4 sleepers each. So I'm just going to let you go ahead and define what you call a sleeper in fantasy football.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I feel like a lot of people take the cop-out routes where they're like, oh, Josh Downs is a sleeper. It's like, okay, well, not really, because people are kind of drafting him as this breakout candidate. So no one's really
AKA they
sleeping
ain't sleeping
on Josh Downs right now. Exactly. The term a sleeper is someone that people are sleeping on. You dig? So, yeah, so basically,
But what does that
we
mean
didn't
to you,
do any
though?
rookies.
Like what?
Huh?
So what would be a successful sleeper to you? So like, what? So if they're
I
a
think
sleeper,
it can depend because
will you look back at the end of the year and be like, I called my shot. That was my sleeper pick for the year. What would
okay,
constitute that as a success?
for reference, last year I picked Tyrone Tracy, and I wouldn't say that he had a stellar season, but like he did just fine for somebody that was getting slept on, and he provided. I mean, shit, he helped me get to a fantasy football championship. So
All right. So someone that you're happy to have rostered.
yeah, someone that you get into week 1 and you're not like, or week 2 and you're not like, yeah, I'm gonna drop him.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I would kind of think a sleeper is someone who has a very wide range of not a wide range. They are sub 50% probability of being worth a damn. And
Yeah.
there's indications that they could be successful, and I'm going to call my shot and say they're going to be successful. And by success, I guess I mean someone who I'm glad to have on my team and can start them in a pinch. I would say, like, if someone is on your bench the entire season, I still think that is probably a successful sleeper, like as an option.
Yeah.
Like, you don't
If
have to.
they're good enough to stay on the bench all year for sure.
Right. All right, cool. Just wanted to outline that because I know we're gonna run through some of these names, and as I say that criteria and I look at these names, I'm like, oh.
They're not even matching your criteria already.
No, but I'm saying they have the potential for that to come to fruition. So just want to throw that out there. So how do you want to ping pong through this?
You can kick it off if you want.
Sweet. All right, so I'll just get this one out the way because Justin's going to be like, oh, here we go. My number one sleeper of the 2025.
J.K. Dobbins.
Incorrect. It is Evan Ingram. And by that, I mean he only played in 9 games last year with the Jags. It was injuries, and the team combusted, so they didn't bring him back. People are forgetting he's only 1 year removed from 114 receptions and 963 yards with a much, much worse team than he's on right now. Plus, he's currently the ADP tight end 11.
I don't know if I'd say that the Jags were a much, much worse team
than the team that is upcoming right now? This Denver team?
Offensively, yeah.
Well,
offensively, yeah.
Yeah, well, he plays offense.
Yeah, it's all that matters for him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, offensively, I wouldn't say that the Jags are, like, terrible.
Well, 2 years ago, they weren't great either. So, I'm saying their offense has not been clicking. And point being, he's the tight end 11 right now in the 10th or 11th round. Which, okay, tight end 11, that's, if you're in a 12-man league, like, they're projecting him to be a starter for someone's team. However, my sleeper category for him is he's being drafted at the bottom of what you would even consider startable, and I think he has top 5 tight end possibilities, only because the promises that Sean Payton has made to him, the comments coming out of camp, he's a pure receiving tight end. To me, he is, this is going to sound bad, but he is what Kyle Pitts could be. Like, he is a pure receiving tight end. He works with the wide receivers.
Well, he started the Kyle Pitts trend.
Well, right. He's 6'3", 230. So, like, he's not a huge tight end. And he runs routes like a receiver. He's talented. But the price is in the gutter. And he's going to be the joker for Sean Payton in the Broncos, which means he's just brought in to be all over the place. And with the lack of hardcore, bona fide receiving options in Denver, he was brought in there to be that number 2 target. I fully expect him to be the number 2 on the team this year in total targets. Cortland Sutton, then Evan Ingram. So,
surprising.
I just think he has...
there's not really anybody else.
Exactly. And think about the tight ends that you want for fantasy. They have to be, at minimum, the number 2 target in their offense.
For sure.
So you don't want a third option to be your tight end. Look at, like, the greats. It's always been Tyreek and Kelsey. It was Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews. Or whatever, Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews. It didn't really matter. It was really Mark Andrews. You had Debo and Kittle. You had, who else in the past? Damn.
Greg Olsen.
Steve Smith, Greg Olsen. I'm thinking on the Panthers. But yeah, it's just, you have to be at least the number 2 target, and I bet the house, we're getting into midseason sections right here. I'm betting the house that Evan Ingram ends the season as the number 2 target. So he's my sleeper.
I think it's a great sleeper pick because I think he's a very 50-50 player. Like, personally, I just don't think that he is as good of a tight end as everyone hoped for. I mean, he's had plenty of opportunity, and he hasn't really, like, he's had flashes, but
his best season was
he's never had a full, consistently good season.
His rookie year was over 1,000 yards. He had over 100. I think, it was like 115 targets, 53 catches. He had a sub 50% catch rate with year 1 with the Giants, but still was over 1,000 yards. And then he had a couple trash years. The Giants are trash, and we were like, oh, the hype wore off. And then he goes to the Jags, and then he has this resurgence. He broke the all-time tight end reception record in a season that year, 114 catches. And then Brock Bowers broke it last year. But that was no small feat, especially if you're in a PPR league, someone who has that upside. He's not necessarily the biggest touchdown guy. I think his career high is 5, but
That's true. I think in PPR he could be much better than standard for sure. Like I said, I think I'm kind of like out on him. Like he's not somebody that I'm targeting in the late rounds. Like I'd rather go for a Tyler Warren or Colson Loveland.
which is
Take a shot on
fine.
that.
It's just
But
Evan Engram is guaranteed to have a role like week 1. Like I think
Yeah.
I think
well, I
those
think
other
Loveland
guys-
and Warren are both gonna have roles week 1. But
true. I don't know. It's just I think that is a person that's being written off and has potential to be a very, very solid player on your roster. Hell, if you just take him as if you want to roster 2 tight ends, say you go McBride or Bowers in the second round, throw Engram as a safety blanket. I think that's a hell of a strategy.
I mean, he reminds me of like going into the season. He's like the new Njoku. Like you pick him up as your second tight end just because like
Yeah.
he has promise.
Even
and
then, he's still
flashed.
going 3 or 4 rounds later than Njoku went last year. You're getting even more of a discount.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because Njoku was like a 6th or 7th round pick, which again isn't early. It's not late. It's just like it's not a relevant pick.
I remember I picked him before I picked Brock Bowers. So.
I know. Actually, matter of fact,
Yeah.
I'll look it up while you start with your sleeper, and I'll tell you where you picked Njoku.
All right, my first sleeper is none other than Hollywood.
Ooh, I like that. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah, he was a guy that was like, you see the name and you think, how can that guy be a sleeper? But people were sleeping on him this year. He's never like, he's always just had like decent years. Like he's never like just shat the bed in a year, but he's never like had an incredible season either. So he's been like middle of the road, but he's got Patrick Mahomes. This will be the first time that they get to see the field for a long stretch of time together. And I actually went back and looked. He played 2 games at the end of the season, and he had 15 targets through those 2 games. And he actually did decent work with them. He had some good fantasy points. So that's pretty hopeful. I mean, obviously Rice wasn't there. Rice is going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But also, Rice is coming off an injury, and he's also possibly going to be suspended. So, you know, Hollywood Brown, I checked in our mock draft, he went undrafted.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a player that's going undrafted that at the very least could have like pop weeks, and who knows if Rashee Rice does get suspended, you might get 3 really good weeks out of him, which as an undrafted player on your bench is like great.
Yeah.
He also
100%.
has all the opportunity in the world to be the wide receiver 2 for that team. There's nobody else in his way.
I mean, Xavier Worthy and Rice.
I did forget about Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
think Xavier Worthy, in my opinion, is a one-trick pony, and that's all they want him to be. To be honest, in my opinion, I think they brought Hollywood Brown in to be the speedster that can do it all, and Xavier Worthy is the new McCall Hardman. But that's just conjecture as well. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Hollywood Brown is a good wide receiver. I think for it to go right to where that we would call that like a sleeper success would be injury. Someone would have to go down because I don't think between Rice, Worthy, Hollywood, and Kelsey, if all 4 of them are healthy, I think none of them will be great. They'll all be good. I think we're going to need at least one
I think
injury.
Rice could still be great.
Okay,
with
yeah.
all 4.
Rice. I guess I should rephrase. One of them could be great. Whoever the hell it might be. I don't.
Yeah.
I think Hollywood has the lowest odds of those 4 receiving options to be great. But if he didn't, he wouldn't be a sleeper. So I can see the path where come week 2, 3, he's getting, I don't know, 8 targets a game, and he's more involved than you think. Stash and grab.
Yeah.
Maybe a trade target down the line.
Where Xavier Worthy going? in drafts.
5th round.
Right. So you're talking about a player that could end up having more of a role on the team than Xavier Worthy. Slim chance, but it's possible. And I mean, shoot, I'm curious. I'm going to look up Xavier Worthy. I want to see in the last 2 games who had more targets between the two.
Between Hollywood and
I will say Xavier Worthy did outpace him by 4 targets there in the last 2 games.
you said Xavier Worthy did?
Yep. But honestly, outside of having 2 touchdowns, like yardage wise, he didn't outproduce him there. So it's like,
I also think it's like a tough time the very end of the year trying to reintegrate a player who's missed the entire season, and
yeah,
he was hyper targeted on his opportunities when he was brought back. So I mean, I my initial reaction was like, hell yeah, that's a great sleeper, because we've seen him be fantasy relevant in the past, and if the chips fall his way, maybe early waiver wire pick. I still think there's probably better options and in your like last pick of the draft. Like I think he should still go undrafted, but a hot waiver wire target. Say you have a couple guys that go down, need to fill a bench spot. Give him hell. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. My second sleeper for 2025, which I'm hoping we don't have this one the same. I think you mentioned something about it in the past, but because we didn't mention these to each other, is Quentin Johnston.
No, I went back and forth with if I was going to put him on my list or not, though. So
Quentin Johnston, he actually at season end totals, week by week was not good, but season end totals, not bad. Obviously we know Quentin Johnston, wide receiver for the Chargers. He was drafted 21st overall in 2023, 2 years ago now. Awful rookie year, complete dud, couldn't catch a cold.
Yeah.
It was just a disappointment all around for a team that needed an alpha wide receiver. And I was excited because he is my type of wide receiver. Big-bodied, run after catch, go up and snag. Like, that's what I wanted and be connected to a great quarterback like Justin Herbert. It was a flop. It was awful. We were like, bro, is he going to get cut in the offseason after he was just a first-round pick? And he totaled, do you have any idea what he totaled last year?
I bet it's around 700 yards.
Yeah. 711 yards, but 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, he made a massive improvement from last year. I don't think people realize, he was a focal point of the offense. He was the number 2, a solidified number 2.
Yeah, he did have. So, towards the end of the year, he had 2 over 100-yard games that bolstered that. So, if you, add 250 yards in 2 weeks and then take the average without those. But, he did have those.
I also
think, the end of the year.
I also think Harbaugh realized that second half of the year that, he doesn't have to do this ground and pound anymore. This isn't the team to do that with, and he started letting Herbert let it fly. If you look at Herbert's pass attempts on the back half of the year, it's almost doubled.
Yeah, once J.K. Dobbins, his efficiency went down, and then he got hurt, they just started letting it fly. But no, QJ had 55 receptions, 711, and 8, and he had 24 more targets with 2 less games played. He only played 15 games this past year, and he had 24 more targets. This came after Ladd McConkey had already shown that he was going to be a focal point of this team too. It was QJ and Ladd and a hodgepodge of other guys, but it was very much shown that he was going to be this too. However, again, the season total looks fine-ish. The week by week was not good. He also is now in a new situation. Things are not the same as it was last year. They added Najee Harris and Amari Hampton on the ground game to potentially get back to those lesser passing numbers
and Trey Harris.
And the second round pick addition of Trey Harris, which You want to compare apples to apples. You got a first round pick 2 years in, a second round pick as a rookie. You would think the first round pick might get the grace and might get the run first, but it's completely up to how he plays and his attitude, and which are things that have been under discussion for the past 2 years. So could Trey Harris take
I
a
don't
step
think
back, and could another
Yeah.
year? I mean, we see progression. That's what we want to see. We saw progression from QJ. And if it works out, and if the Chargers are a good team, if they can have a balance between the pass game and run game, I think he might be worth a burn. He might be worth the last pick in your draft. So,
if he even progresses at the same rate that he did last year, I mean, he'll be on pace for 1,010 touchdowns. It should be, I mean, great as an undrafted person.
yeah,
In mock, or not in mocks, but in drafts. So
seriously.
I love the pick, and I honestly don't think Trey Harris is coming in and taking away reps from him. I think more so he could take reps away from Lad, because QJ is the possession receiver. Like he's gonna get his targets, I think. Whereas Lad McConkey and Trey Harris, I think those are guys you script routes for, and you just get the ball to them. They play more of like the slot receiver type.
Yeah, I mean, Trey Harris is 6'3", 210. He's a big boy, too. And had a crazy yards per catch at Ole Miss. Like, I see it's a merry-go-round. It could be some days
I
Lad,
didn't
some
realize
days
he's that
QJ.
big. I thought he was 5'11".
Nah, he's a big boy. But he scares me a little bit. That's why, honestly, I think if Trey Harris wasn't there, he might be drafted. Right now, he's currently going borderline undrafted, and I think he could be a sneaky pick to slide on at the end of your drafts.
Yeah.
So,
I agree as well.
all right, now hit me with your
All
awful
right.
take.
We're not going to get there yet. I'll leave the awful take for
no.
the last one.
Okay, all right, so we'll do that. We'll do that then.
I'm going to make my boldest take the last one.
Well, that's why I said I'll do that too, because I have not
Yeah.
yet done mine.
Okay. My next one's going to be Braylon Allen.
Well, I guess we're doing one
Um,
together.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so real quick, I'll let you do your spiel, but I wanted to slide some running backs into this, but it's
I
really
thought you were going to go
hard.
Trey Benson, though. That's why I didn't pick Trey Benson. I went Braylon Allen.
No, as someone who experienced Braylon Allen last year as a Brees Hall manager,
Yeah.
I could see the pathway. So I'll let you go through your spiel.
Yeah, I mean, Braylon Allen, for having to split so much time with another elite running back, he didn't do too bad last year. Yeah, elite in quotations. And the offseason for Brees Hall has been not great. They brought in a new coaching staff. It seems as though they are not committed to Brees Hall, as typically new coaches aren't to players they didn't draft. They didn't draft Braylon Allen either, but
They're committed
I
to
think
him
it's gonna
on the
be-
roster, not like committed to him as like the back. They did say that.
exactly. Yes. But also, I think being that they didn't draft these players, I think they're going to come into this team and just say, who's the better running back? And truthfully, I think as an every down back, it might be Braylon Allen. I actually looked back. Every game that he had over 10 carries, he had 5 yards per carry. So it seemed like if they let him get cooking, he was very effective. But I will say, in the games where they didn't let him get cooking, he sucked. It was
Yeah.
like 2.9 yards per carry. But that's how those backs are. That's how those big bruisers are. You gotta let them wear down that D line. So
No,
I think-
I agree.
lots of potential.
Yeah, I looked at those numbers obviously myself too. His season total was trash. However,
Yeah.
I mentioned because I mean, I have it here. He only finished with 334 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in a full course of a season. Like that,
Yeah.
that ain't gonna get it done. He averaged 3.2 yards a carry on the season. It was something tragic. But from watching the games, I said my eyeballs didn't lie. Braylon Allen got
Nah, he looked
in,
good.
and he looked good. He's not going to burn you down the field. He is a big bruising back. He's elite in pass protection, and he's got the goal line work, and that's money in fantasy. As a Brees manager, watching the stupid Jets get to the stupid 3-yard line and then watch Braylon Allen come in, which like makes sense. You're at the 3-yard line. You got a 6'3" running back. Let him yam it in there.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Granted, he only finished with 2 touchdowns, but the Jets were also notoriously awful at getting to the goal line. They one of the lowest goal line rates 2 years in a row. And so, like, just the opportunity wasn't there for Brees. It didn't end up being there for Braylon Allen. But if the roles can be reversed and they can get more opportunities, if the offense improves, if they can do that for them, to talk about an elite insurance back.
Shot.
He's
another undrafted guy.
He was an elite insurance back for me last year. Granted, it never came to fruition. I didn't need to start him. I think maybe I did for 1 week, but it felt real good in this seat knowing, hey, if Brees goes down, I have a good back replacing him. So
yeah.
I mean,
they did draft somebody, but I think it was pretty late, like 3rd or 4th round. So I wouldn't expect much.
Yeah, they did draft someone. I can't think of his name right now. But I mean, just piggybacking off of that, if you want to consider them sleepers, like you can think of your traditional handcuff or insurance running backs. Braylon Allen, I just think, is a little less popular. He's not your Zach Charbonnet. He's not your Tyler Algier, like ones that are going to be rostered. But think about those as well. I know people have their certain thoughts on the handcuff or insurance running back strategy. I'm a huge fan because
I am too.
I just feel like you get an injury insurance. Like, that's why it's called insurance. You get, I mean, think about it.
That's what a bench spot is for.
Right. It's to be there if you need it. They don't give you points during the season. So they sit there and they give you 0.2 on your bench. Be like, yeah, thank God they're on my bench. So think about it. If, say, okay, for example, Christian McCaffrey goes down, knock on wood, in years past, who was the number one waiver wire pickup that you would dump your entire fab budget or waiver priority for? It's
any
Elijah
49ers
Mitchell,
back.
Jordan Mason, whoever the hell it was. That's what you're going to do. You wouldn't have to dump your fab if you take your core piece, especially if it's a core piece. If you've got Bijan, if you got, if you want to take Brees, I don't. But if you want to take Brees.
He's dropping. He's going in the 5th round right now.
Well,
I do think that's kind of crazy because I could see him bouncing back in this. Everything we've just talked about could be irrelevant.
Which is true, but that's why I'm saying if these cards fall the right way, just like with these insurance backs, if the cards fall the right way, that is a hell of an advantage. I hesitate slightly taking an insurance back if you aren't the one who has the primary back. That seems a bit circumstantial, where it's like you don't need to hold on to that because you're not benefit. You might not need that insurance back. You might still have all of your guys good to go.
Yeah, like Kenneth Walker could go down, but then you're still not putting Charbonnet in over Montgomery if Montgomery's not hurt. Like, if you don't have somebody injured, then you're not going to even need him.
And one quick point that we can get off the sleeper insurance back rant, but I almost put Nick Chubb for that specific reason.
I almost did too.
But he
looks good in camp.
It felt wrong to make Nick Chubb a sleeper when he's going to be purely a backup, like just in case role.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know if he is.
I think he is.
I think he might.
You know why I think he is? Because I don't think he's going to be good.
Workload.
I don't think he's good. I think he's toast. So I don't think they're going to chuck him out there with confidence. I'm not saying he's not going to get 6 carries a game, 7 carries a game.
Yeah.
Like, Mixon's not going to carry the ball 32 times.
I've been wanting him to make a return just because it would be sick. I like Nick Chubb. He's also electric to watch. But now, I'm not going to lie, I kind of don't want that to happen. Because it's not good for Joe Mixon.
I know.
And I've got him almost every time I do a mock draft.
So, yeah. I guess we'll lump in our Braylon Allen sleeper take with our thoughts on insurance backs. So, then...
Give me your next one.
Well, because I only got one left, and you only got one left.
I have two left.
How? Was that not your third? Did you do five?
That was my second.
What was your first one? Hollywood?
Hollywood. How do you only have one left? You only talked about two. Oh, I guess that was your third person you talked
Yeah,
about.
that's what I'm saying. So I only got one left. So you do yours, and then,
Okay.
then I'll go.
All right. My next sleeper. This one I feel like maybe this is a little bit of a cop out, but it's Ricky Pearsall. Ricky.
Yeah, go on.
I just want to see your initial reaction. I feel
Well-
like you're not going to agree this is a sleeper, but
I think
Look.
he is a sleeper only in the fact that he hasn't proven
I just
anything.
think-
It's been like purely speculation. He's had like 2 or 3 games that have been pretty good, but
Right.
he's teetering on having shown a little bit, and then the natural progression is for him to get better. But on the flip side of that is he's also, you could think of it as, oh, he did nothing, and we don't know what his role is going to be this year. So,
yeah, and he's getting drafted in the 10th round right now, 10th or 11th round, which is like super low, almost undrafted. And you're talking about a guy that really has the potential to be that team's number 1 wide receiver in a pretty high passing offense. I mean, I think Brock Purdy is plenty capable of producing for a wide receiver 1, as we've seen with Juwan Jennings had a great season last year. Brandon Ayuk has had terrific seasons with Brock Purdy. So I think that a lot of things are kind of lining up for him to take the reins this season, because you've got the team got rid of Debo. That says something to me because they didn't have to. It wasn't like a contract dispute. It was they already paid him, and they said, you know what, let's dump this guy while we can still get something out of him. But I don't think that. I think that has more to do with the fact that they had such good talent in Jennings, in Pearsall, and Ayuk that they felt comfortable doing it. Not that Debo's washed, in my opinion. Also, Ayuk is already having team drama. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Kyle.
yeah, that's
but-
why I wanted him off my freaking dynasty team, like ASAP. I'm done.
Yeah. He's talking about trading me, and I think he's gone, dude. Personally, I don't think Ayuk. He might not even play for the team.
I mean, he's not
he might have
minimum going to
CTE.
play till like week 6, week 7 anyways after the injury. So,
Yeah, so even then, he's going to get off to a slow start. He might, shit like that. He might not even play till week 8. You never know. So, right then and there, I think you got Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. And Kittle, because he gets a large majority of the work.
Yeah.
But Juwan Jennings has been on this team. I think what Juwan Jennings did last year was his ceiling. Do I think that he's not a good wide receiver? No, I think Juwan Jennings is a good wide receiver, but he's just a good wide receiver too. They need somebody to come and take the reins for this team.
they spent a
And I
first
think it's
round
gonna be
pick on the
Ricky
guy.
Pearsall.
I mean, to be fair, reached like hell. He was not expected to be a first round pick.
Ooh, Ricky?
No, not at all. Like a late
no, yeah.
second round
That's what I'm
pick.
saying.
I mean, he's a good prospect, but like not
Yeah.
to be taken in the first. And I mean that comes with something. Is he has to be given the opportunity
And
to show
He
that
looks
he's
kind of good.
he's a talented player. He's an athletic kid, and he just needed to grow a little bit. And also, he was shot in the chest.
Yeah,
Like
he was
this
shot
is-
right up in the chest.
this is not something that should be overlooked. I don't know about you, but I've
And
personally
honestly,
never
he
been
still
shot
had
in
a
the
decent
chest.
rookie year.
Yeah, I mean it's just different paths for
Yeah,
different.
in the chest.
Dude, like we're talking about this
It's
guy.
honestly crazy, bro. He got fucking shot in the chest.
He's mugged.
It's
It's
not
point
funny,
blank.
but it's like, holy shit. Like,
Twice.
how is he playing football right now?
Twice. Point blank. Gun to here. Boom,
Yeah.
boom. Insane. So props to the kid.
Yeah.
Mini man.
Yeah, he also, dude, now that was Brian Robinson.
I
That
know.
was sick. He should have done it too. I don't know if you noticed this. I think many people, turn off. They don't make the fantasy playoffs or whatever. They stop watching football. The last 2 games of the season, he had 210 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. I'm telling you, he finished the year strong, and that's why I think where he teeters.
And that
on,
was with
like,
Jennings on the field.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I'm not
I even
scared.
was listening to the Bussin' with the Boys podcast today, And they, I guess Juwan Jennings had never had a 1,000 yard season, and they were like trying to really push him to get that 1,000 yard season. Ricky Pearsall outproduced him while they were trying to feed Juwan Jennings to get him to that 1,000 yard mark.
Well,
So he kind of overtook him at the end of the year.
is Ricky a better receiver at this point in his career? Probably. I mean, he's younger.
probably.
He's like capable body when he doesn't have 2 holes in his chest. Like, I'm convinced.
It's almost criminal he's going that low in drafts when like he's if you really look at all these facts, like
Yeah,
he
it's
could
just
very easily be a stud for that team.
yeah, but he also could not be. I mean, the body of work. There's a small sample size, so I don't think that he deserves to go. He might deserve to go maybe a little bit higher, but not anything crazy. And I will say, and we can move on with him, but he is not a household name. I don't think, anyways,
Yeah.
for your family leagues, people that might not be paying attention, they might be like, oh, yeah, that was that kid they drafted. I don't know anything about him. Like, I'm going to take someone else. I can see him being
Yeah.
a draft faller because he hasn't put that body of work out there, and people just might not know about him. Like you said, people check out in the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, he's not like a part of their fantasy game plan because he is going in the 10th, 11th.
It's low. It's
So-
very low.
So yeah,
It might just be that there's a stigma with these 49ers wide receivers because honestly, just thinking back, this is very similar to what we did to Deebo Samuel for fantasy. He had a strong end of the season his rookie year, and then nobody drafted him. Nobody thought, oh, he's going to break out. Like, we just discounted him. And then he had an insane season where he was the wide receiver too. And then we did the same exact thing with Ayuk, where he had a strong end to his rookie season. Nobody drafted him. And he ended up being the wide receiver 1 for that team and was, top 5 that year?
yeah, I'm in. Obviously, it's cost benefit who's near him, but if the price is right, I'm in. So I agree.
Yeah.
So, all right. For my last sleeper, my spiciest take, if you will, on the 2025 sleeper episode. It is none other than wide receiver of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Calvin Austin.
Oh my gosh, dude. Thought you were going to say Roman Wilson for a second because I almost put Roman Wilson on my list.
Even better. Honestly, Roman Wilson would be crazy because, however, I did not know the history of Calvin Austin. He's just a guy to me. I did some digging. He was a 4th-round pick in 2023. Or, excuse me, 2022.
Was he on the Cowboys?
No, the Steelers drafted him in the 4th round in 2022. He missed his entire rookie year to injury, and he only caught 17 passes in 2023. Missed all of 22, 17 passes in 23. He gets the opportunity last year. He goes 38 for 548 and 4. He had a role on the team.
I didn't realize that.
And he has no proven wide receiver 2 with Aaron Rodgers in the Steelers. Obviously, DK is there. But to make it even better, the Steelers wide receiver coach explicitly came out to the media and said Calvin Austin is our wide receiver 2 on the team.
Well, no, now that's interesting.
He came
'Cause
out.
I did find an article that also said that the Steelers expect Roman Wilson to step up
Well,
into
yeah.
the number 2 spot.
In the article I
So-
read, it said that they're high on Roman Wilson as well. But I read the quote, and he said that Calvin Austin is our wide receiver 2 going forward. And this is a kid, he's got 4.3 speed. He ran a 4.30 at the combine. Like, he's a big play guy.
Yeah.
He's not
I
very
honestly
big.
don't know much about him, but I know that he is quite fast, yeah.
And he's just been just a guy. And if Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers can take a step, DK's there, and we know wide receiver 2s can have value. I'm not saying this guy is going to be a insane play for you, but I could see him. You want a comp for his like upside this year was Darnell Mooney. I think he could be what
Yeah.
Darnell Mooney did last year. Do I expect it? Fully expect it, and I think that they might probably spread things around more. But 548 yards on only 38 receptions. I think there's room to grow when there's no other real competition other than Roman Wilson, who hasn't seemed to put it together since he's been in the building. I'll give the nod to Calvin Austin. It sounds gross, but that's my spiciest sleeper take of the year.
Yeah, that might be nastier than mine, to be honest with you.
I almost let you go first because I felt like Calvin Austin was really nasty. But
that is really nasty. But you're right. Like, I think what makes it nasty is that I think most people would agree that like the ones we've already mentioned, like all the people we've mentioned so far had a lot more upside than Calvin Austin, I think. Like Calvin Austin's upside is probably Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, but I also
maybe squeaks into like the top 30, top 25 receivers.
But I'm also scratching the bottom of the barrel here. I wanted to find one that
was a fun one.
He is currently the wide receiver 60, I believe, drafted.
Yeah, I don't even know if I've ever seen him. Like if you try to scroll down this much, dude, I can't even find his ass.
Yeah. So, I mean, a 4.3 speed, verbatim quote from the coach. He's their wide receiver 2. Aaron Rodgers coming to town.
He's behind Tank Dell, who's not even gonna play this year.
And you know what? Let it ride, baby. Let it ride. And him never really getting a pure opportunity because he missed rookie year, limited opportunity second year, and so his first full season in action, he puts up fairly decent numbers for a middling receiver, and now we get that's the progression, the momentum I'm talking about here. So if you're in a deep league, I think it's worth a shot. If you're in a 10-man, absolutely not. But
yeah, all right, don't judge me too hard.
I'm gonna judge it.
You had your homer pick. I have my homer pick.
Adonai Mitchell.
It is Adonai Mitchell.
And I almost picked him myself.
Really?
I did.
Honestly, I watched every game. I watched every play. And I myself was like, damn, I feel like if we just had a good quarterback right now, he would be having a great rookie season. Because every time they threw the ball to him, he was wide open, except the ball was 10 yards over his damn head. But I even read an article, and I have it down. I have a bunch of stats to tell you. But I even read an article where the guy was like, he's always open. If you watch Adonai Mitchell's tape, the man is always open, and that's something that you can't teach separation to a wide receiver. You can teach him how to catch the ball better, like Quentin Johnson, but when it comes to receivers like Keon Coleman, he's having an issue with separation. Like a lot of times, that never changes because that has something to do with route running, which takes a long time to develop, and just speed and agility. So Adonai Mitchell was first in the NFL in the whole position in average separation score.
I was just trying to look it up. I was literally over here Googling separation rates by wide receivers because I knew he had some crazy number.
Yeah, first. He also ranks first in the NFL in target rate versus man coverage.
Interesting.
Which is 52%. He's also in the 75th percentile of separation rate total. And he's in the 96th percentile. I'm saying this weird. He has a 96th percentile separation percentage against single coverage, which basically tells me
if they're lined up man-to-man, one-on-one, he's going to get the ball and he's going to be open.
Right. I guess which is great. I think it takes a while for wide receivers to develop that, I guess, sense of sitting in that pocket, like what Ladd McConkey was so good at.
Like in zone coverage.
Right, in zone coverage. I think that's what actually takes players a long time to develop. But it's awesome that in man coverage, he's just blowing people out the water. Now, obviously the hole in this is they got Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. But if Daniel Jones, look, we just saw it with Geno Smith. Who knows? Personally, I don't want this to be the case because that means we wasted a first round pick on Anthony Richardson.
And not
But
a
look,
first round pick, the number
Daniel
4
Jones-
overall pick.
Yes. But look, it's very possible. Daniel Jones could have a resurgence. He actually was never that bad of a quarterback. He was just never somebody who was going to get it done for that team.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he has his Geno resurgence. Both Giants players, and they get it done.
Yeah, I think it's very, very interesting because I almost picked him. I drafted him on my dynasty team because I really liked his college tape at Georgia and Texas. He looked good playing. I watched the games. Why did I watch the games? Why the hell was I watching Colts games last year? I didn't have any Colts players. But no, I watched plenty of Colts games, and I was like, he looks good. And I really wanted to see how he was going to progress. I don't think he saw the field a lot. And I think, I mean, you know my thoughts on Michael Pittman. And, I mean, Alec Pierce is just a guy to me. And then, like, he has his role, the field stretching role on the team. They could use someone to step up. I know they have Josh Downs. Like, there's plenty of mouths there. But I'm interested to see how it goes because I don't care who it is, either quarterback. I think there's potential for upside. If Anthony Richardson could just connect on those deep bombs, we're thinking of a completely different season for Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah.
What was his? Do you know his full stat line for the year? Because
I just had it pulled up.
I looked at it and I was like, did he even cross 300 yards? I don't even think he scored a touchdown.
It was 23 for 312. No touchdowns.
No touchdowns. Yeah. So like 23 catches for 312 yards. Like that's good. Like the kid can play.
That's pretty decent.
I'm in on it. I won't give you hate because I almost picked him myself. I had high hopes for him too.
Obviously, like, it's just dirty because even though, truthfully, I think that he has the potential to be the best wide receiver on that team. Honestly, like, before the Colts drafted him, I remember us sitting there and being like, he might be the best wide receiver in this draft. Like, it's very possible. Like, we watched that Texas tape and we are like, holy shit, this guy's route running is insane. He's not, like, incredibly fast, but just always open. And that's really hard to reproduce in the NFL, and he still did. So, see what the quarterbacks can do for the young man.
No, trust me, I get it. I'm trying to look here at our rankings here from where is it?
It is tough because there is
Yeah.
Dunze, Harrison, and Neighbors in that draft as well.
I mean, because he went to the Colts. He was the 20th pick in the second round. So what is that? Pick 52? Damn it, I don't have our notes here. I had... Oh, no, I didn't. We didn't do our rookie rankings of them. But I was excited. I thought it was a good fit. He went behind Jalen Polk. Yeah, I mean, I have the exact receivers. This receiving class might go down in history. Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, Jalen Polk, Adonai Mitchell, and Roman Wilson. Those are all the day one and day two wide receivers. We're shooting 50%.
Other than Polk and Wilson, like, all those people have shown promise, honestly.
You know, and I even, just a little bonus sleeper, I almost had the stones to say Xavier Legette was going to be a decent weapon.
No.
I couldn't do it, but I do think...
What are you talking about, man? You think I can catch the ball, man?
Don't do that to me, boy. We take that
Come
down.
on, boy. You don't even think I can catch the ball, man? Come on, boy.
If I can't understand what you're saying, I can't put you on my dynasty team, bro, or my fantasy team, dog.
You know who I'll give my honorable mention? And it was nasty. It was Brandon Strange.
You mean Brenton Strange?
I think it's Brandon.
I'm pretty sure is that the tight end? He's a tight end for the
It is
Panthers?
Brandon, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not for the Panthers, for the Jags.
Oh yes.
Because they didn't bring anybody in to replace Ingram, and the team came out and said like he's the tight end.
Yeah,
So,
which is
I mean,
fine,
he's
but
got the
also
opportunity.
like there's plenty of teams out there with tight ends that I just do not give a shit about. Like they all have tight ends. Hell, last year Denver had tight ends. You want Nate Adkins or Lucas Kroll or Adam Troutman? No.
Yes, but Brenton Strange was actually like a decently.
I started in 1 week.
He was a second round pick.
I started in 1 week in our dynasty league because I needed a tight end. So yeah, like I'm not hating on it. I'm just
He was a second round pick that had his whole rookie season tainted with injuries, and then he sat behind Evan Ingram. And when he had opportunity, he actually did pretty well last year.
Yeah,
So
it's just with that specific team, they added Hunter,
I mean, shit. Honestly,
Brian Thomas in his second year. I think the pie shrinks for him, but you said it was nasty, and I agree, it is nasty.
he had 411 yards last year.
And more rushing yards than Braylon Allen. And more receiving yards than Adonai Mitchell. So there you go.
Yeah,
But
sitting behind Evan Ingram. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
well, that'll do it. It was a
Lotto de
efficient-
donkey.
That'll do, donkey. That'll do for the fantasy football. That's a terrible Shrek. I can't do Shrek. I can't do Shrek,
What
dude.
was that?
Damn it. All right. Well, I'm gonna.
How was that?
I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's your boy Kyle Justin with Last Call Fantasy Football as well. No, as always, don't miss Last Call Fantasy Football. Deuces.